It's the Morning Sports Report here at TribLIVE.com. Josh Taylor, Ken Laird. Week of departures in the Pittsburgh sports world. Russell Martin, bye-bye for the Pirates, Josh. We've had Pascal Dupuis go down for what looks like a season-ending medical issue. And LeGarrette Blount, per the Steelers' own devices, cut him loose. Didn't take very long, though. He goes back to New England. Blount rolls back to the Patriots. Does it make you second-guess the decision by the Steelers at all, the fact that he ends up back in Belichick's camp in an AFC rival?
Not at all. Not at all. We just saw New England start a guy that they had on the practice squad 2 weeks ago in Jonas Gray, and he actually ran for 201 yards. But we knew New England was deep in the backfield. So when Blount got let go, the question started swirling immediately. Does he go back to New England? Will they forgive him and take him back in? And it was pretty obvious to me when he came back, when they decided to bring him back, that it was, okay, we know what they're doing. And they got to load up for a playoff run, just like the Steelers have to get ready for a playoff run. Excuse me. But we understand that just as much as the Steelers losing LeGarrette Blount puts more pressure on them to try to figure things out as far as Le'Veon Bell, it puts pressure on the Patriots as well, because they would have to figure out without Blount what they were going to do if they were going to ride Jonas Gray through the playoffs. They had to really make a decision. Do we really trust this guy over the possibility of taking him through December, January, and into February? And I think the answer was no. So they had to make that move to get LeGarrette Blount.
Well, they have a stable of backs up there. Belichick's always had that mindset. For whatever reason, they cut ties with Blount last year. The fact that he comes back raises suspicions. One, it's an intel move if they ever would meet the Steelers in the postseason. It also, to me, raises suspicions. Did LeGarrette Blount, I don't want to say there's tampering involved, but let's say he wanted out of Pittsburgh. He's upset here. The only ability for a player to control things is to make a squawk, make a scene, and in this case, they cut him. Maybe he and his agent said, hey, you know what? You put up a stink, you'll double dip, New England's ready to sign you. Get out of there. You don't want to play there, get out of there. It's a league where guys can be cut because there is no competition, and these teams have a lot of power. But it also, from the other sense, was Blount sneakier than maybe we would give him credit for, and he chose to get out of Pittsburgh.
If that's what he did, then he's definitely smarter than we gave him credit for, because that's a calculated move. You have to really take a lot of risk into account. And
maybe not, though, if he knew he had a soft landing spot.
Maybe, but you also had to be able to predict the fact that Mike Tomlin was going to let him go. And we kind of rolled out the possibility yesterday of what it took for them to say, finally, enough is enough. And when you actually lay out the whole sequence of events, the whole arrest with him and Le'Veon Bell, and you hear now that some of the players were like, hey, good riddance. Obviously, there's something more there that we don't know about. And if that's the case, and he knew that, then maybe he's thinking, well, hey, they're already tired of me anyway. They're already upset about everything that happened before. I've already got, whatever strikes against me. Why not just, do it by my own hand and get myself out of there? And if that's the case, that's a pretty smart move. But I don't.
Well, I wonder if Tomlin second guesses that, because, okay, you got to worry about your own room. These coaches are so hypersensitive to what's going on in their room and under their control. I understand that, but you saw Jim Harbaugh in San Francisco decide, you know what, I got a linebacker who's pouting, so what, Ahmad Brooks? You're just staying here. You're going to ride the bench. I'm not letting you go to another contender in my conference and have you pop up and hurt me in the postseason. So I really wondered today if Mike Tomlin, cooler head should have prevailed and said, you know what, maybe you're not going to play for us, but we're going to inactivate you, and you're signed with us. You're not going anywhere else.
Yeah, but do you want that problem in your locker room every day?
That's the question.
I guess they figured that it was better off with them going without him than him doing this over and over again, or him being a problem down the road. Because you can't have that kind of problem in your locker room, especially what this team has to face with the rest of November going into December. We look at the schedule, and on paper you think, oh, well, they got a couple bad teams they got to face. They got to face Atlanta. They got to face Cincinnati twice. They got to face the Saints. But we know how bad this team is on the road, so there's no guarantee that they'll win 3 or more games in these last 5.
That's right.
They really have to stay focused on their task, because right now their ceiling is maybe a number 2 seed, maybe a home playoff game. That's their ceiling. But their floor can be out of the playoffs altogether. So they have to stay focused. And if this guy is in there and he's causing scenes and he's being petulant and he's kind of whiny and sulking over the place, it can mess up the chemistry of a team, and they don't want that.
Would be something if we saw Steelers and Patriots in the postseason and LeGarrette Blount on the other side of the field. Maybe pregame, maybe in-game. Ken Laird, Josh Taylor. We'll be talking about the Steelers stretch run here throughout December on TribLIVE.com.